Okay, I am now on page 17, and this is going to be, I think, screencast 2 for Module 1, Lesson 2. Dimensional analysis is a method of manipulating unit measures algebraically to determine the proper units for a quantity computed algebraically. In plain English, dimensional analysis is a way of going from things like feet to inches, or from meters to miles, or from seconds to hours, that kind of thing. Okay? The comparison of two quantities with different units is called a rate. Like meters per second is a rate. It's the rate at which an object moves. It's called speed. Miles per gallon is the rate at which you are burning fuel in your car, that kind of thing. Okay? The ratio of two equal quantities, each measured in different units, is called a conversion factor. Okay, so what do they mean by conversion factors? Like 12 inches is equivalent to 1 foot. So 12 inches over 1 feet, or 1 foot, or 1 foot over 12 inches. Those are conversion factors. And it doesn't matter which way I put them, because really both quantities are equal. Okay, hopefully that'll be a little clearer as we move on. It says use dimensional analysis to convert the measurements. A large adult male human has about 12 pints of blood. Use dimensional analysis to convert this quantity to gallons. So they want to go from pints to gallons. Okay, now you need to know how many pints are in a gallon in order to do this, or how many pints are in part of a gallon. So the first thing that they're going to do down here is go from pints to quarts. Okay? So they're going to take the 12 pints that they have, 12 pints, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make this, I do them like so. I'm going to just put the 12 pints over 1 just to make it look more like a fraction. 12 over 1 is still a value of 12. Okay, then I'm going to use a conversion factor. 1 quart and 2 pints are the exact same volume. So at first glance, this fraction doesn't look like it's equivalent to 1 because you see a 1 and a 2. But it is equivalent to 1 because a quart is the same amount as 2 pints. Okay? So I'm going to put this equivalent this conversion factor next. And here's my rule for doing this. How do I know which way to put it? Well, the rule is if I want to get rid of pints, then I'm going to make pints the unit that's catty corner to each other. So I'm going to put the 2 pints down here and the 1 quart up here, because catty corner units will cancel. If I have one on top and one on bottom and they're the same, they'll cancel out. Okay, so far I've canceled out pints, but I haven't gotten to gallons yet. Well, this next step reminds you that there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. And again, catty corner cancels. I'm going to put the quart part down here and the gallon part up here so that my quarts cancel. When I do all of this, and this is basically this step plus this step all in one, okay, what I'm sitting there writing. I'm just going to say 12 times 1 times 1 gallon, so everything across the top. 12 times 1 times 1 gallon is 12 gallons. And then on the bottom, 1 times 2 times 4. And there are no units left on the bottom. 1 times 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, 12 divided by 8 is the same as 3 divided by 2, which is the same as 1.5. So that's 1.5 gallons of blood. Okay? So the big thing here is if you're going to do this, you've got to make sure that your fractions are set up in such a way that your units that you want to get rid of will cancel out. Okay, so let's go down here. The length of a building is 720 inches. Use dimensional analysis to convert this quantity to yards. Okay, so I have to go from inches all the way to yards. Again, I like to do mine all in one, but we can kind of work with it, and then I'll do the same thing down here. 720 inches. I'm just going to put it over a fraction to make it look like one. There is 1 foot equivalent to 12 inches. Okay. So 700 times 1 is 720, divided by 12, and you get, I think that's 60. That sounds about right. 720 inches is 60 feet. Okay, but I'm not yet done. So I take the 60 feet, come over here, 60 feet, and then, again, make it over 1 if you want to. There are 3 feet in 1 yard. Okay, feet on top, feet on bottom, and you cancel. So 60 times 1 is 60, divided by 3, and you finally wind up with 20 yards. So what you started off with here, 60 feet, is 20 yards. And then you go all the way back to the beginning with what you started with. 720 inches is 20 yards. Now, personally, I prefer to do it all together, so I'll show you the way I like to do it, but you certainly, you can do these separately. So you'd start off with what you're given, which is 720 inches. I like to make mine over just a number 1 to make it look like a fraction, because I'm going to multiply it by some other fractions. What fractions? Those conversion factors. So I want to ultimately go from inches to yards. So first I've got to go from inches to feet, and then I can go from feet to yards. Rule is catty corner cancels, so I'm going to put the inches part down here. And I know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. Then I want to go from feet to yards. So again, catty corner cancels. I know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. And then feet are catty corner, they'll cancel. Inches are catty corner, they'll cancel. And I say 720 times 1 times 1 yard. And I have 720 yards on top, divided by 1 times 12 times 3, which is 36, and no units. On the bottom, 720 divided by 36, and you get 20. Okay. Okay, I'll do number 4 with you as well, and I'm going to do it the way that I've sort of learned. I'm going to start, well, first of all, I'm going to write down here where I've got a little bit more room. 7,500 seconds. And I want to go all the way from hours. So I'm going to have to go from seconds to minutes, and then from minutes to hours. So I'm going to start off and just make my 7,500 seconds look like a fraction by placing it over 1. And then I think, you know what? There are 60 seconds in 1 minute. And I make sure that the part that has the seconds is down below, so it's catty corner and it will cancel. Then I've got to go from minutes to hours. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Minutes cancel. And so what you wind up with is 7,500 times 1 times 1 hour is you have 7,500 hour on top. 1 times 60 is 3,600 with no units on bottom. And then you just do the math and you say 7,500 divided by 3,600, or just 75 divided by 36. Drum roll, please. Because I'm going to do this the quick way, kind of cheap with a calculator. 75 divided by 36, and you get 2.083 repeating. And we'll just say 2.083. We'll just keep 3 decimals. Okay. I'm not going to do this one because honestly, my mind keeps telling me, well, 3 feet. Well, we can do that. 3.28 feet is a meter. 1 meter. Let me see if I've got some paper to do that one on. Okay, so I have 3 feet. I made it look like a fraction just by placing it over 1. Remember, I just said 3.28 feet equals 1 meter. So I want the feet part of my conversion factor down at the bottom. That's equivalent to 1 meter. So feet cancel out, and I say 3 times 1 meter. So I have 3 meters on top. 1 times 3.28, 3.28 on bottom. And again, just so we can do this quickly, 3 divided by 3.28, and you get 0.9146, blah, 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 blah. And we'll just call it 0.915 meters. Okay. Then we'll do this very last one. 4 inches is equal to how many yards? That one should be a little bit easier, but again, we're going to wind up with a small number. 4 inches, just place it over 1 to make it look like a fraction. There are 12 inches in 1 foot. The inches goes down at the bottom because catty corner needs to cancel. And then there are 3 feet in 1 yard. Again, feet will cancel. You wind up with 4 yards on top divided by 36. 4 over 36 is the same as 1/9, which should, if I remember correctly, be 0.1 repeating. 4 divided by 36. Yep. So we'll just say we'll just round it off at 2. Okay, 2 decimal places. And there you go.